very, very special guest.
Nuestra invitada es
Our
Pepa
guest
Pombo,
is
es
Pepa
nuestra diseñadora
Pombo.
colombiana
She's a
que
Colombian
ha
designer that
sido maravilloso su proceso en
has
el posicionamiento de la
had a
industria de la moda
wonderful
desde
process, fascinating
1978. Cuando
framework
hablamos de
since
Pepa, hablamos de
1978.
una mujer
And we're talking about
emprendedora,
Pepa, we're talking about
recursiva,
an
que todos sus
entrepreneur,
diseños priman
resourceful woman,
especialmente los
and
tejidos
all of her designs,
tridimensionales,
they're
elementos naturales,
especially
flores,
three-dimensional
colores, cultura,
crafts and
emoción. Entonces, por
great
eso es que
fabrics and
nos llena de
colors and
muchísima,
culture and
muchísima
emotions.
emoción
So we are
tenerla hoy
really,
aquí,
really
porque es
excited
una persona
to have
que
her here
ha
today
estado
because
no solamente aquí
she's
en
somebody who
Colombia,
has been
sino
not only
también
here in
en
Colombia but
diferentes
also
sitios del mundo, como en
in
Costa Rica,
other
Guatemala,
places of the world,
Panamá,
such as in Costa
México,
Rica, Guatemala,
Estados
Panama,
Unidos, y por
Mexico,
supuesto no solamente ha
United
hecho esa
States. And she
transformación de
hasn't
las
only done
boutiques, de
that
las tiendas
transformation
físicas, de este
of
contacto uno a uno,
the
sino incluso una transformación digital en los
physical
últimos 40
stores,
años
but
que lleva con
even she
nosotros.
has had a digital
Entonces,
transformation in the last 40 years
después
that
de esta
she's been
pequeña
working with us.
introducción,
So after
Pepa,
this
muchísimas
brief
gracias por estar
introduction,
aquí
Pepa,
y
thanks
bienvenida.
a lot for being here and welcome.
Buenos días, ¿cómo están
So
todos?
good morning.
Yo
How
estoy
are you
recibiendo
all?
un
I'm
montón de
very, very
partes, por
excited to
favor,
be here with you. I'm
de
greeting people from
Uruguay,
everywhere: Ecuador,
Costa
Uruguay,
Rica,
Costa
México,
Rica,
Colombia.
Mexico,
No, qué
Colombia.
emoción. ¿Cómo
It's
están
really
ustedes?
very,
Alegría grandísima de poder estar con ustedes y poder hablar y responder sus preguntas, porque
it's
ya me han
beautiful to be
contado que
here with you
quieren
to be
saber
able to
mucho y la verdad el
speak to
tiempo
you,
es el que
to
escribe
answer your
todos estos
questions,
renglones que vamos a ver.
and time is what's going to write all
Vale, bueno,
these
entonces
words that
para
we're going to
todas,
speak.
nuevamente
So let's
tenemos
make the
aquí a
best
Pepa,
use of
vamos
it.
a
So
preguntarle
yes,
unas
so good
cosas
morning,
súper puntuales para
everybody. Again,
desarrollar un poco
we're going to
más
ask
nuestro
some
proceso en Conecta
questions,
Américas, pero
specific
todas y
questions
cada
to
una de
Pepa to
ustedes,
develop our
bienvenidas las
process in
preguntas,
Connect America. So
vamos
again,
escribiéndolas en el
most welcome
Q&A
each and
y
every
nuestro
one of you.
equipo
If
va a
you
ir
have any questions,
recogiéndola para el momento
write
de
them
abrir
in the
micrófono,
Q&A, and our
respondemos
team
una a
is
una
going
estas
to
preguntas.
um,
Entonces,
catch them, and
pues
we're
para
going to
empezar, yo creo que me parece una primera
answer
pregunta
them, and
súper
open your
importante.
mic if you wish.
¿Cómo nace
Also,
esta idea
just
de
raise
crear
your
a
hand and we
Pepa
will open
Pombo?
your mic. So, first question: how did the
Bueno,
idea
yo
of
creo que
creating Pepa Pombo?
nace
How
dando
was it born?
sin
Well, I
querer
think
querer,
ideas
pero
are born by
hace muchos
themselves. It's
años,
incredible, but
donde
many,
vamos a
many
hablar de un
years
tiempo
ago,
que
we
nadie
were
me
talking
pedía.
about back in the
Entonces,
day when the
se
things were
fue
really
dando
different.
desde muy joven a crear mi propia
So, since I
ropa,
was
mis
very young,
propias cosas,
I started to
después
have
de haber
these
estudiado
ideas to
diseño textil,
create my
que
own
me enloquecía
uh,
todo lo que era materiales
designs.
y
I
todo lo
studied
que era
in the
diferente a
textile
lo que
design, and I
habíamos
was
conocido.
crazy by everything that
Entonces,
were
eso
different
hace
materials, new novel materials,
realmente
things
lo
different from what
logré
people
como
were wearing,
resultado
and
de
that's
haber
what
hecho algo
led me to
distinto,
create
diferente.
something really different.
¿Cómo describes esta firma? ¿Cuál es tu principal producto? Porque muchos te conocemos, pero también hay muchísimos más que te quieren
Yeah,
conocer.
we
Otros no
know,
solamente creen que es
some of us
ropa, pero nosotros sabemos
know
que es
about you.
muchísimo más
Uh,
que piezas
we know, but we know
de
that you
ropa.
do much more than just
Bueno,
uh,
esto se inicia
clothing.
porque yo estudio Bellas Artes
Yes,
hoy,
well, I studied
digamos más bien, donde
textile
el
design,
conocimiento de lo textil a
and
mí me interesa
the
no
knowledge
solamente
about
por lo que veo
the
o
fabrics was
escucho
really
con mis
interesting to
sobrinos,
me,
sino
not
por
only for
siempre
what
la
I learned
sensibilidad
at
para mí es
college,
muy
but for what I
fascinante.
feel.
Lo que
For
tú
me,
tienes en tu
sensitivity is something very
en
important.
tu
What you
ADN. Yo
carry on your
necesitaba sentir
DNA.
algo
I
agradable y al
needed to
ver algo agradable
feel
también
something
sentir
pleasant. I
que
needed
se
to
puede
see
sentir
and
algo
feel
muy
something pleasant,
lindo
because you
si
can
te
have
acercas a
something
un
very
sitio
beautiful.
o te paras y ves un
You might be
fondo o ves
wearing
algo
something
alrededor
beautiful, but then if it's
que fuera
uncomfortable when
funcional,
you
que
move
fuera
your body, then
agradable,
it's
que
not
fuera...
good. So for me, it was
Todo
important
eso
that
lo fui
clothing
juntando y el
was
resultado
also
real
functional
es
and
que
comfortable
yo
and
siento que es
pleasant
entre
into the
crear
sight.
algo
And I
y el
brought
crear
all of these
algo
elements together,
distinto.
and I
Yo
felt
siempre he dicho que mi
it's
vida
about
siempre es
creating
no
something
copiar.
different. I think that's my
Definitivamente eso no ha
slogan, to
pasado de
create something
moda
different,
y
not
eso
to copy
sigue
things. And that
totalmente vigente
is
y ahora
still
más que nunca.
absolutely
Porque antes
um,
introducir algo
truth
diferente
today for
era
me.
pues muy difícil
Before,
porque
back
no
in the
teníamos la
day, it was really
comunicación ni
difficult
los
to introduce
instrumentos
something
que hoy
new
están muy
because there was
complicados
no
o te
internet.
rechazaban o te
Uh,
aceptaban.
you were
Ahí
rejected or you
nació
were
Pepa
accepted,
Pombo.
one or the other.
Sin
There were no
embargo,
midterms.
yo
However, I
insistí
insisted
que
and
eso se había
insisted and
reconvertido
insisted.
y
I was
empecé a
really,
encontrar mi
uh,
nicho de mercado, porque el
uh,
mercado
I
ya
did it
estaba
a lot, and
desbaratado
I
y
found
estaba
my own
creando algo
market niche. And I
muy
say this
importante
for whoever is creating something, it's very important not that you are found by others, but that you find your market niche. And I for this I traveled and I worked a lot and I got into many risks
es una respuesta muy larga con
and
muchas historias de por medio,
many
pero
stories in
para mí lo
between.
más
But
importante
for
en
me, the
este
most
caso fue
important in
crear
this
algo
case
que
was to
lo
be able
han
to create something
llevado a un
that
tipo,
has
ya no
been
puede ser
taken
ropa, sino
to, as you say, not
una pieza
clothing, but to
donde tú adquieres
a piece in
algo
which you
y
acquire
te vas a
something
enorgullecer llevarla, pero te vas a
that is gonna
sentir
make
muy
you
bien.
proud,
Y
make you
además,
feel proud by carrying
agradezco
it on, and
es
you're
algo que
gonna
va con
feel
toda la
good.
conciencia
And it's
del
something
mundo de que es
that is
diferente,
full of
que es
awareness
original,
about
que sigue siendo la
the fact that
comida
it
que
is
toca,
original,
que
that it
sigue
is high
sucediendo lo
quality,
mismo desde el
that
primer día, no
I
copiar,
still have the same
no imitar,
level of demand, such in the first day, about
importantísimo
not
es
copying, not
ser
imitating,
y
being
quiero ser
original. You know, this is
atractiva
very important. Be
y además yo
oneself.
la
And I
diseñadora
transmitted this to
a
my
que ustedes
daughter
ahorita
Monica,
todos
that
esos
nowadays
catálogos, todo lo
is
que
the
ustedes ven,
designer of the company.
todo eso es diseño de
All
ella.
our
¿Por
catalogs
qué? Porque
nowadays
es
are
que
being
ella
designed by her.
nació
Why?
ahí, ella
Because
nació ahí,
she
ella se
was
educó,
born there.
cuestión que yo no quería, ojo, yo no
And
quería que ella fuera
careful, I
diseñadora
did
porque a
not
mí me
want her to
consideraban,
be a
no,
designer
usted
because
es
back
diseñadora de
in my
cereal. Yo
time,
no sé si ustedes
being a
sabían eso, pero
designer
yo
was
ahí
being considered as being
tuve
a hippie.
clases
I
de
wonder if you know
diseño.
what hippie is,
Entonces,
but in our culture,
obviamente,
that meant to be
pero
nobody.
ella me lo pidió
And of
y
course, I
lo
didn't
pidió
want
y
this
estudió
for
y se
her, but she
preparó
asked for
y
this.
esa
She
es
studied
la
it.
creativa
She
y la
got prepared, and
empresaria.
nowadays she's the
Qué bonito
creative
que menciones a tu
of the
hija porque
company, creative
precisamente
person.
esa es
It's
una de
beautiful
nuestras
that you mentioned your
preguntas. ¿Cómo
daughter
se
because
involucra tu
that's one of
familia
my
y
questions.
todo ese
How did
equipo en ese
your
proceso de
family get
transformación de Pepa?
involved
Porque tú
in the
arrancas
process of
con la idea,
transformation of a company?
pero
You
obviamente no
started
ha
with
sido un
an
camino
idea,
solitario, ha sido un
but of
camino
course,
con un buen
it has
equipo, con tu
not been a
familia. ¿Cómo
solitary
ha sido
path. It
todo
has
ese
been a team
acompañamiento y
with
ese
your
proceso?
family. So how
Bueno,
has
creo
the
que
process of
después
accompaniment
de
with your
todo lo
family
que
been?
digo, que no ha
Well, I
sido,
think that
no ha
I can
sido un
say
equipo,
there that
hemos creado una
we
familia,
we have
hemos
created a
hecho
family.
una familia y hemos
Yes, it
respetado
was not a
aún
team before
esta
or previously.
familia,
We have
sigue
created
siendo
and
mi
respected a
familia.
family,
¿Por
and
qué?
that family
Porque a
continues
través
to be my family.
de los
Why?
años se han ido involucrando cada vez más.
Because
Empecé yo sola, después llamo a mi
though
hermano, porque obviamente un creativo no tiene
time
ni
has
idea de
passed,
administración, él era un buenísimo
I call my brother because, of course, the
y
creative has no
ganador,
idea about
o
management.
estaba estudiando
He
esa
was
carrera.
very good manager,
En la vida eh,
and he
fue algo
studied this
planeado,
profession.
un apoyo bárbaro donde nos unimos 50 y 50, que era urgente y
We helped
necesarísimo
ourselves
hacerlo,
out,
porque yo veía que lo
each
mío era muy
other,
exitoso, pero yo no sabía si estaba bien o mal, es decir,
and
económicamente, y qué posibilidades había de crecer o de no crecer. Bueno,
for example,
un
I
segundito.
worked on my stuff, but I
Es
didn't.
que estoy en los talleres y se oye un ruidajo que no
No,
quiero.
no te preocupes, estamos perfectos aquí contigo.
Qué
So here
pena.
we are. Yeah, I got a little
Entonces,
problem with the connection.
obviamente, hacemos
So
un
of
equipo
course
y él se
we
casa,
had a
entra a
team, and he got
temporada,
married,
entonces me ayuda con la parte de talleres y de jefa de taller y
and
dirección general y
his
yo me
wife
paro
helped
para
me
mí.
out
Al irme para mí,
with my
el
workshops
cambio era
and general
tremendo.
direction.
Era
So I went to
las
Mexico,
cosas
and when I
muy
went to Mexico,
diferentes.
we're two
Dicen
very
todos que
different
somos muy parecidos,
cultures.
no,
Nowadays, they
así
say that
no
we are
es,
very
no es
similar, but
porque
before it wasn't
Colombia era un
like
país
that
como
because
Bogotá,
Colombia
donde yo soy,
or Bogota,
frío,
where I'm from,
donde
was a
llovía,
cold
donde
country.
todos
Bogota was
era
cold,
gray, donde
a
nadie
cold
se ponía
city. It was
colores,
dark, it was
donde la
gray. People
gente
wore
iba
black all the
vestida de
time. And I go to that
carnavales, de
carnival of
colores, de
collections of
artesanía,
colors,
y
of
me enloquezco. ¿Por
handcrafts
qué?
in
Porque
Mexico, and I got
empiezo yo a
crazy. I
sentir
went crazy. I started to feel
vitalidad
a
de
vibrancy, a
todo.
life, a vitality
Mis
there.
hijos se educan en
So I took
México,
my
yo sigo
children there. They
estudiando en
grew in
México
Mexico. They were
y
educated in
realmente
Mexico. I
la
continued living between
combinación
Colombia and Mexico, and actually the combination
por
was
eso les
perfect
digo, ¿cómo nace?
between both
Se
countries.
hizo
That's
poco a
why I say
poco,
how
se
it was
hizo por
born.
la historia.
It it
Las
got
cosas no
craft
salen
through
tan
time.
rápido como uno piensa, como
Things
uno quiere.
sometimes are
La
not so
experiencia
fast as we would like or
triunfal
wish, but
y el
experience and
involucrarse en
triumphing
fracasos
And when you go
En este
back,
caso, es una
whenever you fail, I
retroalimentación
wouldn't,
que
in fact, I wouldn't use the word fail. It's a
parece sencilla,
reaction
no,
that life
pero el
brings.
combinar
Sometimes
esas
yes,
dos
sometimes no,
cosas
but
tan
combining
importantes que
these
los dos
two
llegan
things, such
a
an
la
important things
y
that
para
both
rematar,
touched my
yo
soul.
estudié
And
todo mi colegio en el Perú, en Lima,
also, I studied my
y
whole
tenía una
school in Peru, in Lima, and I
maravillosa
had
de sacar de
wonderful
cabeza de los
clothings
familiares, de la
uh,
historia del
the
Perú, de los
in my mind the different clothings and the
te
different
dan
fabrics of the Incas in
aprovechas o
Peru, the
desaprovechas.
traditional ones. So
Increíble.
life
Yo
offers you
tenía
things and you take advantage or do
referencias,
not
tenía
take advantage. So
inspiración
who was
de
I going to
todo
copy?
lado.
Because I was
Desbordando de
surrounded by
ideas,
inspiration. I
era
didn't need to
increíble.
imitate anybody. Everywhere I
Una
saw
vida,
things,
eh,
I found
todo
different
cambiaba
things,
solamente
different
de 4
attitude, a
horas de
different
vuelo
life. Things
o de
changed.
ida o
I,
de
I
regreso.
took a
Todo
4 hour flight
cambiaba
back or forth, and
cambiaba
everything changed.
increíblemente.
Everything was new,
Y ahí
and I
la parte creativa se me
rebuilt
desarrolla.
things,
Entonces,
all of
estar
this
estático,
developed my creativity. So being
estar,
static
yo digo que así cerrado,
uh, or closed,
pues puede funcionar, pero
it
no por
might
largo
work, but
tiempo. Estamos hablando de
it
que
won't
tiene
work
que
for a
ser
long
10
time. So
años.
because
Y yo
we're speaking for
ayer veía
40,
unas
I'm
entrevistas de
I've
mi
been
época
working for
ya
44 years
estaban
now, 43
jubilados.
years.
Y yo
I've, I've,
estoy
s- I've s- I'm
que
still
no lo puedo creer
on
todavía.
the scenario while many of my colleagues back in the day are
No,
already retired.
y este
I can't believe it.
proceso realmente,
Yes, and
como tú lo
this
dices,
process,
tiene
as you
muchos
said,
actores, tiene muchas partes que hacen parte
actually,
de lo que hacemos día a día. Nosotros también aquí hemos
there are many
trabajado y
aspects to it,
es un
what we
mensaje
do
que le
day
hemos
to day, and
compartido
we
a
have
todos nuestros
worked here, and it's a
participantes, es
message
que
that I've shared all
nosotros
my
estamos
participants.
montados en un tren. Es un
It's that
trencito
we
de
are
valor que tú no
riding
estás
a
solo, tú
train.
tienes unos
It's a value
proveedores,
train in
tienes
which you're not
competidores
by
y van montados
yourself.
en ese tren,
You have
tienes
suppliers, you have
consumidores, tienes
competitors, you have
distribuidores, tienes una
um,
cantidad de
customers,
partecitas que hacen, que están en ese tren
suppliers,
que
etc.
hacen
You
que
have
tu
many
negocio
little
sea tu
parts on that
negocio.
train that
Entonces,
make your business be your
ustedes en
business.
Pepa Pombo, ¿cómo trabajan en ese tren? ¿Cómo es ese conjunto de
Uh,
proveedor,
so how do you
distribuidor,
work in that
competidor? Porque también
train
hoy
in
día, como
Pepa
lo dices, ha
Pombo? The
cambiado mucho y
suppliers, the
tu competidor
competitors,
ya no es el que
competition,
te quiere
and
quitar el
maybe
negocio,
things have
sino
changed a
puede
lot
ser
because
que
now your
te
competitor is not
colabora
the one that
incluso
wants
a
to
crecer tu propio
take your
negocio.
business away, but maybe they are the ones who collaborate to
Bueno,
your
esto se
business growing.
inicia a raíz de que ya, como te digo, mi cuñada
But
y mi
yes,
hermano, yo ya tenía dos
this
niños,
begins
ellos
because
empezaron
my
poco a
brother
poco,
and
fueron
his
ingresando al
wife had already
negocio,
2 children. Now they have three,
no
and
lo
they all
queríamos,
wanted
ojo,
to go into
querían,
the business.
siempre
I didn't
nos daban
ask
esos
him to
consejos,
get
no,
into the
pero
business,
sigan
but
dentro.
they wanted to, and we always listened to
La
their
parte
advice, though they were not
administrativa
inside.
era
So the managerial
mi
part that
sobrino
he met,
Sebastián Pombo,
uh,
que es
and
el que hoy
my
día
nephew Sebastian
está apoyando a
Pombo,
su
who
padre,
is today supporting his
hoy
dad,
entra
such as
en una
Monica, my daughter,
innovación
is
total.
supporting me.
Él
He
no
came
entiendo
in
nada
with
y no me
an
pidas
amazing
explicaciones,
innovation of
pero
which
todo
I
está
do not understand anything, and don't ask me
computarizado,
for
todo está
explanation. But everything
estrictamente
nowadays systematized
bañado,
with
donde
computers,
todo es
managed
impecable.
strictly. Everything is
Esa
impeccable.
parte industrial
That part,
o lo que te
industrial
digo, cuando
part,
ya
or
está
how
una
to say, how to
industria,
call
esa es la que a
it,
mí
when you already create an
no
industry,
me
that's
gusta
what I
tanto, porque
I don't like
ya
so much
fueron,
because
hay
definitely
muchos
there are
enredos donde tienes
many
que
knots.
te
There are
cambian la ley
many
cada tanto tiempo,
things
que
that
cambian
change.
una
The law
legislación, que
changes, and
cambian
then you have to
todo.
change many things in the company.
Pero ya
So things that I really don't
ya
like to go
la cosa
much into that.
es un
But
apoyo
when Sebastian, my
mucho más
nephew, gets
dinámico,
there,
donde
he
está
brings
totalmente
a much more
actualizado,
modern and
donde
dynamic
el negocio
support.
vio
Everything
relaciones
is again digitalized.
internacionales,
He studied
entonces
international
ha
relations,
apoyado el
so he
crecimiento,
has also
el
supported
levantar
the
la parte
growth
de hombre, la parte de
and the line
capacidades,
for
y
men,
es a donde
the
también
masculine design of the
a
company.
ese
I never
mundo
imagined. I
full.
did it. In fact, I did it, and I
La
did it
parte
by
de
myself.
exportación fue a
And the
Canadá.
first
Quiero
export
decirte,
was
qué
to Canada.
maravilla, y
I
la
said,
guerra
"Wow, this
abrió
is
sus
wonderful,"
puertas
and I'm
a
added
alemania
that they're
que les iban a
the
vender. Yo no
the
sabía
people
nada
who
hasta
they
que
were going
ellos
to
me
sell
hicieron
clothing to were golf
unas
players.
pruebas
I didn't know
y
anything
resultó
about that, and I just
genial.
designed
Este de
some
España,
clothing and
el
I
rey de España,
presented on
compró
Spain.
Pepa Pombo de
The
hombre
king
y
of Spain
después la
purchased the
exportación a
first Pepa
Canadá
Pombo for
quedó
men,
muy
and
bien.
then
No
when I
perdí
export
nada.
I exported to Canada. I sold nothing because it was so progressive that they didn't understand the concept. They say, okay, how come when there are different colors on the part of the shirt? So I stopped there. But now when we're doing it again and it has been successful because it's the masculine part of Pepa Pombo where women say, oh, why don't you create something for my husband or for my son? And that's how it really started. He was in charge of opening the commercial part for that. And then Carolina Pombo, his other daughter, my brother's daughter, uh, came into the company. She started communication and she worked everything on internet, the Instagram, and opened an online store. And she manages the department team of the team of this department, and she's uh, aware of the opinions, what people are saying on the social media, and all of this ends up to us having a board uh, that is the family, where I have my three nephews, my two sons, and one of them traveled to Mexico many years ago, and he continued the company in Mexico. And her wife nowadays also went in. And Daniel, he is in charge of absolutely everything there at Mexico. I would say he has a vision about the international part. I wouldn't say I did not have it because initially on the year 70 something that I think I was the first exporter of clothing made in Colombia, but they got guaranteed that they were not only clothing but artwork. They say, okay, we're purchasing not just clothes but artwork. Yes, and each of them was crafted by hand. It was an artwork actually, and I do believe that how this became modern, well, with the new team.
Yo creo que todo esto funcionó gracias a que nuestros hijos, todos, tanto como los dos míos, Daniel y Mónica, y sus respectivos también, y mis tres sobrinos, Camila es asesora de una marca, de una empresa mundial.
Sorry, there were problems with the connection. So a worldwide company, she lives in the United States. She's also an advisor to Pepa. So it's not that we are a lot of people, but we all work very aware and conscious of what we are doing and being aware that we are working on this personally within the family. This is very important, and it's very important to work we work for ourselves and we work very well, and we do not have Saturdays or Sundays, but whoever wants to travel, they must do it for business issues, and each one is in charge of their own personal things. But the most important aspect is the respect for the creative part, because all of this is moved based on something. And Monica comes there, she's the one that focuses our attention on the fact that we have to manage and accept and direct and explode sales, the international part. And Monica's initiatives are very important because she's update, and how to be updated by believing herself and by being herself. And that product is a product related with the brand Pepa Pombo, but with her
Y todo este
essence, her
proceso de
essence. Okay,
reinvención,
and all of
donde
this process
cada
of
uno
reinvention
aporta,
where
donde cada uno
each
es
of them
talentoso
adds
y
and each of
desarrolla lo
them
mejor que
is
puede cada
talented and
una de estas
develops
partes, cómo
all of
toman
these
esas
parts the
decisiones
best
de
they can. How
transformación,
do you
cómo
make
deciden que es
decisions for
momento de
transformation? How
dar
do
un
you
siguiente
decide
paso o el
it's
momento de,
moment to
oiga, tenemos que abrir en tal país
take
o
and
nada,
give and
tenemos que hacer
follow a
una
step,
tienda
or
virtual o
we need to open
definitivamente lo
in
que
another
tenemos que hacer es
country or
redes.
to open
¿Cómo
a
toman
virtual
esas
store,
decisiones de dar
or we
esos
need to go to
pasos?
the next network. How do you make those decisions? Well, there is a board of directors where, for example, today, every Tuesday at 2:30 p.m., wherever they are, we gather. Nowadays, I think in Colombia, just my brother and I are in Colombia, and the rest of them, wherever they are in the world, we all get connected, and that's where we share our ideas. How can I say? There is an amazing coordination. It's incredible. I think we rarely say, "Oh, we can't be there," or something does not work. No, we are all like a single head. And if we don't agree, okay, say, tell me why don't you agree, and we reason and we reach the decision we need to reach. But definitely, we all agree. That's what's most important. In order to create and constitute a business, you need to find to agree up, upon the goal. Though life changes the paths, we are ready for whatever comes, but we need to be aligned in terms of where we want to reach, what we're going to get to, because no one is a magician to know what's going to happen in the future. Just take a look at the pandemic, this surprise. Yesterday I spoke to a friend and she said, "You are the only woman who I heard, oh, this is so good. I can stay at home," when it was announced that we should be confined. For me, that was wonderful because I was tired. I was really tired. And I didn't know what was coming. But said, okay, 8 days of not thinking about anything, be calm. Yes, of course, enjoying what I do. But so it's like a yeah, it's like a rush. It's like a race because um, passion is always goes ahead, and you must run very fast in order to outcompete the other. And you must be attentive to everything and in every place and in different places. Also in Saudi Arabia, in Italy, in Spain, there are many places. The countries you mentioned, I can say that in those countries, the sizes, the colors are such and such, or people like this. But it's not so real that everything we sell here we can sell there. But we need to be attentive to everything, and the color for us has been something very important. When we came back to Bogota, as you knew, is a city that we helped that
Caliente.
we help it be more colder.
Sí, pero mira
Yeah,
que
and
con un
I am
accesorio o
dressed
también
in black, for example, but I
sí,
have some
es cierto, o
accessory.
sea, ese
Yeah, but
tema
it's true.
cultural
We
te
tend to
absorbe. Yo no
dress
soy
black,
originalmente de
and
Bogotá,
this
pero la cultura
topic
te va
absorbs
absorbiendo.
us. I'm not
Entonces,
originally from
y
Bogota,
también
but the
hacia allá
culture
va mi
absorbs
pregunta,
us.
¿uno cómo entiende estos mercados? Porque uno empieza a
And that's
conocer
also
donde uno
my
está.
question.
Y
How
todas las que
can
están
one
aquí son
understand the
muy
market?
buenas
Because
en su
one
ciudad, en su
understands
región.
the market
Pero
where
¿cómo
we
hacen
live
para
or where we're
entender ese
growing.
mercado que está
But how
afuera,
can you
donde
understand
quieren
the
moverse
market that
y
is
digamos, no,
abroad
pues
or
se van a
of a different
equivocar, obvio,
country where you
pero
want to
cómo
move,
equivocarse
you
más
want to
rápido
reach
o
the market?
equivocarse menos
Okay, you might
para dar
make a
ese
mistake,
paso,
but
porque como
how
tú dices, a
to
veces das el
make
paso y
mistakes
toca devolverse.
faster in order
Pero
to
digamos, cómo
learn
hacer que sea un
faster?
poco más
Because
fluido
sometimes you
y
give a
bueno,
step
con
and you
miedo y
have to
con
step
todo, pero con
back.
ganas, ¿cómo se hace?
How do we do it? Well, I'm going to tell you something that I've always said. I am not a designer, but I, I travel a lot. I am a traveler. I am a luggage carrier. And this is key on this company. You have to travel. You have to yourself, like really full of experience. And I do this. I continue doing this. This is absolutely useful because when you come out in an avenue and somebody looks at you, say, "This is not the way. This is not how things work here." It's being attentive to sensitivity of to the human factors and being with our six senses awake. And sometimes we don't develop them all, and to be with all, yes, with all those six senses awake, attentive to everything. For example, if you go to a party on a beach, I think, okay, they're calling me to have the morning snack. Yeah, here in Colombia, at more or less this time in the morning, we take a coffee or a little snack. But I'm here, and I want to tell you that I'm here I didn't wear my working robe, but it is here. This is my robe, and look at how beautiful this. What they put here,
Señora Pepa,
Miss Pep.
hermoso.
How beautiful.
Entonces, el
So
viajar, el maletear, el
to
relacionarse, yo
travel,
creo que es vida,
to
¿no?
carry
Yo
your
creo que nos
bags,
dan
to
unas
relate to other
ganas
people. I think this is to be
de
alive.
esas
I
ganas
think the day
de maletear, digamos, o de salir,
I
de
don't
investigar,
feel willing to
hemos
travel
vivido
more
tanto
and to
en
go and
relacionarse
investigate
con
more,
personas.
it's very important to relate
Entonces,
yourself, to live with other
eh,
people,
ay,
to
si a mí me
meet
preguntan
others.
qué es el resultado de lo que he
So
hecho,
if
para
you
mí
ask me what's the
es mi
result of
vida.
what I've done, I
El
think my
resultado de mi
life is
vida
the
es
result
de
of
que
what
hay
I've
unas
done,
cosas claras,
or what I've done is the
que,
result of my life.
que
And
tenemos
to
que
be also to be
mirar,
clear
¿no?
on things, that we
Es que
need to
eso es
trust
lo que te detiene. Mira, la primera clase que yo tuve en la
and
universidad
fight. The first
fue
class I had in
tanto,
college,
tanto
I
que la
remember
primera clase
so
que tuvo
well
la profesora
the first
de
sentence that my
textiles
teacher mentioned, my textiles
el que
teachers
nace
said.
copiando, muere copiando.
She said,
Y me
"Who
quedó, pero así.
is
Y
born
yo
imitating will die
grabada.
imitating." And that
Entonces, esa
sentence
parte
was
creativa es
imprinted
tan
in me
maravillosa.
for life.
Y
So
fuimos,
that creative part is
usted
so
la ve, usted
wonderful.
la encuentra en todas partes.
And
En su casa, en el colegio de los
you can
niños,
find things
en
everywhere
donde
at home, in the school of your
eso
children, at the school where
es
you
algo
studied.
que es la vida y
It's
que lo
something
tienes
that
que
is
ir
life itself. You
Yo
need
sé
to
que estamos
open.
pasando
And I
situaciones
know we are undergoing
muy complicadas, muy
very
difíciles,
complicated
pero
situations.
tú te lo
Uh,
haces la
but
difícil, tú te
also,
siempre la
you are the
arreglas
one
más
who can make it
difícil.
harder or not.
Eso se me hace a mí que es, ay, yo no sé,
And that's what I
esa
think.
pregunta siempre la
That
respondo de esta
question,
manera.
I
Vive,
always answer it in this way:
vive.
live, just live. You should just live life.
Estaba ya pensando cómo debería tomarme unos minutos y ponerme otro color,
Okay,
porque
yeah, I
sí, es
was even thinking, okay, I'm
definitivamente
gonna take
cierto.
some time away and
Y
I'm
no, y me
gonna
encanta,
change
y yo
my
creo que
dress
para
because,
todas es
yeah, I
súper
want to very
importante ese
colorful.
tema. Hay
It's
que
true. And
conocer, y es
yeah,
algo
it's
que
important
hemos
also,
hablado mucho.
when you have to
Conoce a tu
meet, you have
cliente,
to go,
conoce tu
meet
producto,
your clients,
conoce lo que tú
meet your
estás
product,
haciendo y en qué
or
te
know about
diferencias.
them
¿Qué
and
es
know what
más
is your
especial de lo que
difference,
tú
what
haces,
is
no
more
tanto lo que
special
hace el otro, y te
about
pegas de
what you
eso que es
do
tu
and not
promesa de valor,
think
que es lo más
about what the
importante
others
que
do and
tenemos todos y
stick to
cada
that,
uno como
your
empresarios?
value
¿Cuál
of
es
it.
nuestro
What's
valor? ¿Qué es lo que
most
vendemos
important
más
and added
allá de
value do
si es un
we give
producto, si es un
as
servicio,
business
sino
people? What
cuál
do
es
we
el valor
sell,
y qué le
even
suma y te hace
despite the
diferente?
fact that it's a
Entonces,
product or a
nos
service?
encanta
What
muchísimo
makes your
esas
product or
palabras,
service
Pepa, y
different,
mira que he estado
and
viendo
the
preguntas ahí
unique
y hay
value it
muchas que
adds?
preguntan, ¿y
So
cómo
I
es el
was
tema
saying
de
some questions,
producción?
and
¿Y
many
cómo es el
asked,
tema de
okay, well,
economía circular?
how
¿Cómo
do
es
you
el tema
work in the
del
circular
impacto
economy and
ecológico?
production
Porque también
and
aquí
the
todas están muy
ecological impact?
pendientes de,
Because all
bueno,
of us
esto
are
es
also very
producción,
aware here,
pero
understand that, okay,
cómo
this is
le hacemos a la
production,
producción? Y más si tú estás haciendo algo
but
tan
how do
especial
we work
aquí, ¿cómo
production,
haces para
especially
llevarlo también
even
afuera?
that you're
Porque
making
¿cómo
such a special work?
replicas
How do
y
you
cómo
do
te
it
lo llevas
to
también
take it
afuera?
out abroad? How do you
Mira,
replicate it, make it work abroad?
yo creo que
Well,
el
I
producto
think
mismo se basa.
that the
Y
product
te voy a decir algo.
itself, that
Nosotros hemos expuesto
like the
en
product
partes del
sells
mundo.
itself. We have
Hemos
exposed
desfilado
everywhere in the
en
world.
muchísimas
We have
partes
made
del mundo,
fashion shows
muchísimas,
in many parts of
sin
the world,
hablar
or
el
being in
mismo
fashion shows,
idioma, sin conocer
without
el lugar,
speaking the local language,
pero
without meeting
siempre
the
hay
people, but
alguien que se te
always
aparece y
there
te
is
dice,
something that appears and
eso.
says, I'm
Es
interested.
decir, diría
You know,
mentiras si en
I
una
would lie
exposición
if
no se me
on
hubiera
an
parado alguien
exposition
al lado y decir, mira,
somebody
quiero una
wouldn't
exclusiva,
come to me and
o
said, I want the
quiero
exclusive one,
comprarte,
or I want to
o
purchase from
entonces
you,
el
or,
producto te da
so the
la
product
internacionalización
gives the
y te lo da
internationalization,
reafirmando la originalidad. ¿Por qué? Es
reaffirming
que ay,
originality.
cuando te
Why?
voltean a
Because
mirar, no te voltean a mirar porque
when
haces lo
somebody
mismo que todo el mundo.
when you call somebody's
Te
attention, it's
voltean a
not
mirar
because you
y
do
no
the
haces lo
same as
mismo que el
everybody else, but
resto,
they look,
¿no?
they turn and look at
Entonces,
you because you're
esa
doing
parte,
something different,
vuelvo y te
and they say,
repito,
wow,
¿qué
what's
pasa en la
this?
producción? La
So
producción
again,
es
what happens with
desagradable.
production? Production is pleasant
¿Por qué? Porque hoy día
because
todo mi equipo es
nowadays
creativo.
all my
Y
team
te voy
is
a decir cómo es
creative.
creativo, cómo
And why?
funciona la parte que
How
les interesa
does
mucho a tu gente o a todos los
the part that your people are interested about, or everyone who's present here. What happens with production? Production is something that has demanded, for us, it has demanded quality control, lots of quality control. Oh, we have people in
Guatemala,
Guatemala.
that's
That's
beautiful.
beautiful.
Somebody
Somebody
just
just
wrote
wrote
from
from
Guatemala.
Guatemala.
That's exciting. So we have Pepa Pombo in Guatemala. Forgotten to mention it. We are in Guatemala, have a franchise there, and they are beautiful, beautiful people, and that are exquisite in everything. The way they treat us, the way they have their store. I mean, I'm short of words to speak about all the beauties of the people in Guatemala. So anyway, we were speaking about what happens with production. Production is something we have to be uh, tracking closely. That's why I have this robe and these glasses, that because I need to be exaggerated on the way I look at, and production has to be checked and checked again, and you must be really careful with the details, because sometimes the creative part goes so far away that, or is not such a scope that many times the producers do not do exactly what we were creating. So we have Monica, the head, we have Sandra, the manager, my um, the wife of my husband, and I mean we have staff that are absolutely focused on quality control, even though it's a slow process. No, don't worry, the important is that it has quality, because in my industry it's really close. When, for example, yeah, there is a part of the way in which we knit that you cannot see the knitting uh, on any side of the clothing, and this is something that requires time, that spends time, and the most important staff is the staff who are
Bueno,
working
entonces,
in the workshop.
maravilloso. Tenemos dos últimas preguntas. Yo tengo dos últimas preguntas, pero sí he visto que hay muchas que tienen muchas
Wonderful,
preguntas y tienen
wonderful, Pepa.
muchos
So
comentarios.
there are
No te
many questions
preocupes,
and
todos
many
estamos
comments,
aquí
and don't worry,
emocionados de
don't feel
tenerte en
afraid
este
for that.
espacio. Y yo creo que
It's so
estas últimas
great to
preguntas,
have you
aunque
here.
ya nos las
And
has contestado,
since
es ¿qué
you have
mensaje
already
tienes
touched
para
on
las
some
que
of this
están
question, but
empezando? Porque tú
again, what
llevas
is the message
40
that you
años
have
de
for people who are
camino.
beginning?
Hay
Because
muchos
you
que están
already have been for
empezando, llevan
40
2,
years here,
3, 10,
but there are
otras que
some people
solamente
who have
llevan un
been
año
just for one
y ya
year,
sabemos
two,
que hay que
three,
ser
10,
originales, ya
and
sabemos
we
que no hay
now
que
understand
rendirnos,
that
que
we
hay que
need to be
devolvernos,
original
porque
and
se vale equivocarse.
persist, and that
Entonces,
it's
¿qué
okay
más
to
tienes
make
para
mistakes.
nosotros?
And what else would you like to share us? Well, I'm gonna tell you something. Every day is a new day for me. Every day I begin. If this is useful for you, every day I begin. That's my answer.
Sí, ay, todas
I'm
lindas, mi
beginning every day.
saludo,
Oh,
todos están acá
so nice.
emocionados. Y
Everybody's
sí, qué
so
bonito. Sí,
excited
es
to see you
cierto, o
here.
sea,
And
todos los días
yes, that's true.
y uno
Every
piensa que es una
day,
receta mágica y simplemente
one thing
repetirla,
is a
pero
magical
si tenemos
recipe
que
and it's
estar al
just about
día, si
repeating
tenemos
it.
que
But
estar
if we need to
investigando,
be
si tenemos que
updated, if we
estar
need to be
ensayando,
researching
pues es apenas lógico que
and
todos los días estamos empezando.
making
Es un tema de resiliencia.
tests, yes, we need to begin every day, and it's a matter of resilience. Exactly. And I think that is the vitality and the energy that this gives the company, because all of the team, not just me, we are all beginning, and what was done yesterday maybe is not doesn't work today, so you need to begin again. Don't worry, time will give all the answers that you want to ask me. Time will answer all the questions. One day I was in a conference, and a little girl, she studied in a school, in a public school. Oh no, she was. Oh no, sorry. She was already graduated from school. She was studying at a design school, and she raised her hand and she said, "Pepa, I want to be as famous as you." And I said, "How can I answer to this?" So I had a watch back then, and I looked the time, And he said, dear, you have 40 years to be famous, to become famous. That was my answer. Time will make it for you. The persistence can reach what delight or what joy can't. It's a saying. So plenty of times I said, let's finish with this, Plenty of times I wanted to abandon, but I didn't do it. So this is a daily, constant and persistent activity, and time will answer. Time will give you all the answers and the results. And in this profession, well, nowadays this is very important because you have more capacity of communication and news, travel really fast to any country. Back in the day, we had to travel, ask for appointments, carry our luggage. It was really hard. But nowadays, you do it all through internet, and that helps you earn time. But to belong and to persist is the hardest thing.
Muchísimas gracias
So,
por mis
Pepa,
preguntas, obviamente.
thanks a
Yo sé
lot
que hay
for answering
muchísimas
my questions. I
otras
know there are
preguntas.
many
Hay unas
other
que están muy
questions. There are
preocupadas
some
por
that
el
are
cuidado ambiental.
very
Hay unas que
concerned by
preguntaron que dónde
environmental
compran
care.
las telas.
Some
Entonces yo
ask,
creo
where
que
do you
ahí les
purchase
puedes
the
contar
fabric?
qué
So,
pasa
can
con
you
tus telas,
talk
porque ese es
about
un
your
tema súper
fabrics?
bonito y a las
So,
que les
because
está
that's a
interesando mucho
beautiful
de cómo es la
topic,
tela,
and
cómo es
who
el
are
proceso, cómo es el
feel
tema
very
de
attracted by
cuidado
these,
ambiental.
the
Creo que aquí les
environmental
puedes
care
contar
and the
esa historia
clothes
bonita
and the
de lo que son
processes. I
esas
think you can
telas
tell
tuyas.
that beautiful story about where your clothes are, your fabrics are. Well, all the life, I have believed in the natural fibers, but Colombia does not produce natural or did not produce natural fibers. So I had to make my own factory where I was able to create my own threads about of the cotton and well, all the different products that Colombia used to produce. But these products were not so commercial. Uh, but then Monica, Monica's generation was the generation of ecology. I always tried to have natural fibers, and of course, I had to mix them because cotton, if you stain it, paint it, and in the first wash, it is unstained or it loses the color. Um, you have seen, for example, black cotton cloth after it's being washed. Sometimes it loses the blackness. So we needed to mix the different materials. For example, the wool is too hot, so we needed to dilute it, mixing it with other kind of threads. But nowadays with linen, for nowadays we're working with PET, that is to work the ecological part. So the plastics, it's been discovered that the raw matter of plastic, raw material, everything that is plastic gets dissolved and creates wonderful materials where we stain them and they absorb the color very well and they do not lose color and when they are washed. And we need to make a mixture between natural fibers and these fibers. The materials are really hard to find. We craft our own uh, fabrics. I have never purchased fabric. I've all done it. We have all done it by ourselves. The colors, the torsion, the texture, the thickness, all of this is directed. And why? That's why I studied textile design, and Monica, my daughter, also did. So we give a basic, fundamental importance to having ecologic raw material, and we are behind all materials that I want to be offered if there is any offer of an ecological material, I'm
Muchísimas gracias.
interested
Sí,
to hear
esa es
about
la
it.
parte que les queríamos compartir a
Well,
todos.
that was
Lo
something
bonito
very
y
to
lo
share.
especial también tiene
Also,
Pepa es
because
que no
something
solamente
very
es el
beautiful
diseño,
about Pepa is
es
that
desde el
the
mismo producto,
design,
la
that it's
producción, la
the
concepción
way
de con
products
qué
are
vamos a construir ese gran
crafted,
diseño.
what
Y
are we going
ese
to
estudio, como ella lo ha dicho, estudiamos todo el
do
tiempo,
these
nos
materials?
reinventamos todo el
We
tiempo,
have a design,
empezamos
but
todo el
what are we
tiempo
going to
porque
craft it
estamos
with
desde
what
el hilo
materials? We think
hasta que
about
sale la
the
pieza.
whole
Entonces es
process
un
from the
proceso
thread
completo.
to
Entonces
the
las que
final
preguntaban por economía
cloth.
circular, por
So
los
for
temas
you, the ones
ecológicos,
who were
esto
asking
es lo
for
que
circular
ha
economy
hecho
or
a Pepa
ecological
Pombo,
topics,
y cuando digo Pepa
this
Pombo me
is
refiero
what
a toda
has
su
made Pepa
familia,
Pombo. And when I
los
say
ha
Pepa
hecho lo
Pombo,
que
it's
son hoy
your
día, que se
whole
han
company and
preocupado por
family,
cada
is
detalle,
what
desde el hilo
has
hasta que
led
llega la
all of
pieza.
them to be what they are today, because they
Entonces, dice
have
acá, lo que viste hoy,
been
usted lo
aware of
diseñó,
every
fabricó desde la
detail.
tela hasta la confección, está
So
hermosa.
yes, what
Ay,
you
qué
saw
bonito
today,
ese
you
mensaje.
design
Se
it,
preguntan que
you
qué es lo que tienes puesto, que
crafted
si
it
también es tuyo.
from the thread to confection. Yes, this what I'm wearing right now, the robe, was given to me by the women who work with me, because we all have a uniform. It's 100% cotton, but this is not crafted by me, but this is crafted by me. And the pant that maybe you cannot see it over here, yeah, I also did
Hermoso.
it. It's beautiful. The iPad cover was also made by me. What else can I tell you that I have around? Well, I don't have many things around right now, but this is a cloth that was made using a specific cotton material um, that is handmade. And I have many things. It was embroidered in the last one, and I have a department that I think I might, without exaggerating, I have a place that is perhaps larger than the factory itself, just for rehearsals or for tests, and because creating motivates. The more you create, the more ideas are you will have. So I live in that place. It's a department or an apartment that is full of all sorts of tests, industrial, handmade, different colors, different kind of clothings or of fabrics. So I would have, this is Monica's office, but I would have my office full of all the pieces that I have created in my life, of all the different types of fabrics that I have crafted and tested and tried, and the whole house wouldn't be enough. The houses of the walls wouldn't be enough to paste all of this. So that's my art, that's my
Y
um,
ahorita, Katy, ¿qué preguntas tenemos? Tú
and
querías
those are my
pasar.
kind of my paintings. So
No,
that's
sí,
what
muchas.
gives
Eso
sense
te
to
iba a
me.
contar,
Okay,
o sea, ya
awesome. So
habíamos hablado
what
y te había
questions?
dicho,
What
no
are the
solamente
questions do you
tenemos
have?
aquí
Yeah,
artesanas,
we
tenemos
not only
gente
have
también en
here
moda, también tenemos
handcrafters, we
gente
have
que está
people
en
who work,
servicios,
or
gente que está en
women who work
alimentos,
in
y creo que,
fashion,
no sé si has
in
alcanzado a
services,
ver
in
los mensajes,
food.
yo los
And
estaba viendo
I
y
wonder
todas
if you've seen the
emocionan, todas
messages.
agradecen y están
All of them are
encontrando esta
so
inspiración
excited and
en
grateful and
industrias
finding
que son muy
inspiration.
diferentes a las tuyas porque son mensajes
Women
que
from
realmente nos
industries
ayudan
very
muchísimo a
different than
seguir
yours, because the
adelante y
messages
seguir
you're sharing with us
transformándonos
are
día a
really
día.
useful
Entonces, no sé,
to
Katy,
go
¿quién
forward and
tenemos ahí
transform
que quiera
ourselves
pasar
day after day.
a
So, Kathy,
participar con
would
una de sus
anybody like
preguntas?
to ask their questions out loud? Yes, we're going to open the mic to Yadira Bustamante.
Hola, Yaira.
Hi, Yadira.
Yaira,
Yadira.
¿me oyes?
Parece que no le sirve el
Well, it
micrófono.
seems to be that Yadira's microphone is not working. And there is a question in the chat. There's a question in the chat. Yeah. Yeah. Well, given that Yadira's mic is not working, I'm going to ask this question. The question has to do with finances. Did you launch, did you receive help, or did you got financing with banks? How was your financial? Did it by myself. It's like a joke that I say in which, how do you sell things? I sold one and I did two. I sold two and I did three. I sold three and I crafted four. So I had no support because my dad just said, I do not want to have a bohemian daughter. So I paid for my career, and I had an art gallery when I was 17, and I taught painting because I began really young. So with my art gallery, and I painted a painting, it was this small, and the cost was 2,400. The next one was a little bit larger. The cost was 200, 400. The large one, the largest ones also cost 2,400. And a German client customers asked me, why do all cost 2,400? And I told him, because with one, if I sell one, I can pay the rent with whichever I sell, so that's my story. I didn't receive any support. I am a self-made woman, and I think it's a story. If somebody asks me or tells me to start again, I don't know if I would be able to start all over again, because I did so many things by myself, absolutely by myself. I don't know if I would be able to do it again. Yes, and you can see how much Pepa Pombo has grown. Yeah, 40 something years. And it's not a career that makes us rich. It's much more expensive. That, like, the part of investigation and research is much more expensive than the career, than like paying the career. So why? Because the investment in investigation is really high. In research, in creating things, we must travel, we must create, we must experiment, we must make risks, take risks. When I was told, Mrs. Pepa, I'm going there in Europe. I'm going to Colombia, and I'm going to take some materials that somebody purchased of the greatest hangers in the world. And I said, hey, no, bring me what has not been sold. And that's what I did all my life. And in Europe, they can say this, they can witness this. The only person to whom we cannot take what has already been purchased by somebody else is Pepa Pombo.
Ok, Katy, ahí está veo una pregunta de Yadira. Después de ella
And
no le
Jadir
funciona el
has a
micrófono,
question
pero ella nos dice
back
que
again. So she
cuando hablabas
says,
del nicho de mercado, dice
when
que
you were
cuando
talking
uno crea
about
ese nicho de
the
mercado y que
market
no es el
niche,
estándar, porque
when
tú
one
estás
creates a
buscando el
market niche
propio,
that's not
¿qué
the
barreras
standard one
encuentras en el
because you're
camino?
seeking
¿Cómo
for
mueves
your
esas
own,
barreras
what
de
barriers do
encontrar
you
tu
find on
propio
the
nicho
way?
y
How can you
establecerte
move or
en
overcome
tu
the
nicho nuevo
barriers
que estás
for
creando?
finding your own niche? Well, I think that also moves. It's not that one moves the things, but you do need lots of uh, people, like, out there to understand what is your niche. And for that, I mean, you need to get in touch with many, many, many people. And for this, you need to travel a lot, to move yourself a lot, to receive many invitations and go to them, because many people travel say, hey, are you Pepa Pombo? You're here attending? Yes. I say, yes. That's what my business is about. I need to go and be in touch with the people and listen to the people and learn from the people. And Monica also, we have to be in direct contact with the people. And that's how you find your niche, because you perfect yourself. For example, here somebody says, okay, here in this country, I don't know, they like the clothing in such way with such details, and I make my own conclusions. Nobody has told me anything. I go and find it out by myself, because if there is a doubt, I prefer not to. But of course, so move around, being active, not saying, oh no, I don't want this, or this is not useful. No, I don't do that. I would put here a sign that says, I already got the no, but what if I get the yes?
Espero que sí. O sea, espero que
Well,
encuentres ese sí
I
entre esas
really hope you
barreras y
find
no
the
no
yes
te
with
sientas
all of
mal
the
por esos no o
barriers,
esas barreras,
and
que
don't
todas se
feel
pueden ir
bad
desarmando en
about
el momento que
the
las vas
no's that you
entendiendo.
might get, because it's a
Entonces, no
matter of
sé, Katy, si podemos
understanding, and the
pasar a
barriers will
Verónica,
be
que yo la veo que
overcome
está de
as you
primero en la lista
understand what
alzando la
happens.
mano.
So I see
Verónica,
Veronica
por
has
favor,
her hand
nos
raised.
saludas para ver si podemos
So
escucharte.
can you greet us to see if we can hear you? Good morning, all. Yes, can you
Sí,
hear me?
señora.
Qué alegre, Pepa, sos una bella.
Well,
Muchísimas
Pepa,
gracias.
you are beautiful. You're very happy. Thanks for sharing your experience because this is your means of living and it's your way of living. That's the way you have chosen to live with enthusiasm and to add value to all of the community. So my question is, who are the ones who state the tendencies of fashion in the world and what strengths do you think we have in America so we can set the tendencies worldwide also? I speak from Nicaragua. Oh, I sell in Nicaragua. Greetings to all of you here. Oh, I am so I I have a delivery that I'm stuck with a delivery that I have to take to Nicaragua. It's about to go there. Please wait for a while. Oh, so beautiful. Well, it's a very interesting question because definitely I feel that being alive gives you everything to begin with. But what can we add as Latin Americans and who sets the tendencies in fashion? Well, I think tendencies is something easy to understand. If I issue in this collection, if I issue a long skirt, then the following is going to be short, you know? Its tendencies are easy to understand. Why? Because you cannot make a longer pant or you cannot grow a dress. Do I explain myself? This is something you need to capture immediately. You need to understand it immediately. Many of times, so, a new design continues and it becomes a classic, but it's important to understand. People tell me, How do you know what's going to come next?" Well, I can almost say that it's by logic for the reasons I'm giving you. But in countries such as ours, there are things that do not work. For example, we talking about Nicaragua and talking about Guatemala and talking about Mexico, the color of our skin is not the same as in Europe. We think on certain colors, about certain colors that do not match the skin. Though you can make up, the color won't fit, won't match. So you pay attention to certain details, but many of times you discover things that are absolutely new and you need to jump to the water, you need to take the risk. We we sometimes we are a hit outside and we are really not so conscious about what helped, and then we realize that for example in Europe, things that are handmade are really valued. And nowadays, given that we cannot produce so much, you do not see us in the top of demonstration, uh, but it but it is sold and it is wanted, and people know where we are. In Guatemala, um, embroidery is wonderful. In Mexico too, and there are countries that use the Panama embroidery. For example, they love it. So there are many things that have embellished the product of any great designer. So the thing is that our handwork uh, is scarce. Young people is not willing to continue with the traditions of their mothers or grandmothers because they're studying new professions, because the world has changed, because of economy. So manpower or workforce, workmanship is not so easy to find today because it also doesn't pay off the high amount of effort that this kind of profession requires. Thanks a lot, Peppa, for your answer. Did I answer your question? Really? Yes, yes. Thank you very much. A big hug. Big hug to you. Pleased to meet you. A pleasure. Big hug. Thank you. Thank you. Millions of hugs for you. Well, thank you very much, Veronica, for your question.
A ver, vamos a darle la palabra a Ana María Barrera. Ana, si quieres, puedes ya abrir tu micrófono.
So now, Ana Maria Barrera, can you open your mic? Yes, good morning. Thank you. First of all, Pepa, Your story is beautiful, very inspiring. I am also Colombian and I am jewel designer. So it's very beautiful to see myself projected in you. I have a 16-year-old company, and when you say that you already have been 40 years in your company, you continue reinventing everything that has to do with research, traveling, you give such priority to that. That is wonderful for me. I wanted to ask you something. When you started your career, you found people, did you find people who did not believe in your process, or people who told you you should do something different, we do not believe in your company, you should do something different? Well, that's a beautiful question, my darling. I'm going to answer with two things. How that what you're mentioning was so strong that I decided to move away to Mexico. Well, I went to Mexico because nobody believed in me here. Nobody believed. Oh, well, that's incredible. So it challenged you somehow. Yeah, because what I did was so avant-garde. When like people had a sweater for just the people had sweaters here just to be at home, and I was the first one to put some special things into it, uh, kind of um, things that people found crazy and did not use them. It was too much for them. But when I went to Mexico, people really liked the things I designed. You know, um, the great personalities. Uh, so I made huipiles that were handmade, and each one had its own production number. So up to a certain point, nobody is a prophet in their own land. And nowadays, I'm thankful because globalization is what has helped me open myself. Maybe you might have started young. You have been 16 years working. It has been difficult, perhaps, because nowadays there are many people in your profession in jewelry, but I ask you, please do not imitate, never imitate, be your own self. What comes from your soul, what you are, that is what you're going to reflect, and that's what you're going to find. That's how you're going to find your own market. And this I tell you based on my experience. So when I got to Mexico, everybody thought that I was a Mexican designer, and oh surprise, no, no, I'm not Mexican, I was Colombian. And yes, and what you mentioned is so beautiful. I travel with the support of ProColombia, and we have attended several international macro business meetings. And I work with the filigrana from the Colombian Pacific. The filigrana is like a very fine way of doing jewelry, and it's very beautiful. I live in Cali, and it's beautiful to see how abroad everything that is handcraft has a high value. So when you say that nobody's a prophet in their own land, this is true somehow, because you can see how these kind of products are highly valued abroad. Yeah, because they have, yes, my darling, because you are different. That's the point. Because you are different, you're surprising others, and while you surprise others, you will continue to be current, to be enforced. Thank you, Pepa. Thank you, very inspiring. Thanks to
Laura
you.
Lozano.
Now we'll continue with Laura Lozano. That name is familiar.
Laura, ¿estás por ahí? ¿Ya puedes hablar?
Laura, are you there?
Hola, buenos días.
Buenos
Gracias
días.
a la señora Pepa. Soy boliviana de Santa Cruz, Bolivia.
Ay, me
Thank
fascina.
you, Miss Pepa. I am from Bolivia, Santa Cruz, Bolivia. Oh, I love your country. And what you do is something that would be really cherished here. What I've seen on your website and in your networks. I love your story of inspiration. Thanks a lot. And I have a company of services in human resources. And my question has to do with this. You spoke about the power of um, reaching agreements, and I wanted to know how do you solve the processes of being stagnant when you need to make a decision between several people and you need to reach an agreement, the power of that those agreements. I have a company that is already 20 years old and people are coming in, more people are coming in, and we want to bring in the new generations of the families, and there is a very important point there to understand how we can reach agreements and have access to the power of agreements. If you have, can give us any suggestion about it. Yes, we have reached agreement by respecting what everybody does, what's the specialty of every person, and with that respect, and with that also with lots of love and cherishing, we can reach agreements with explanations, with reasons, of course, but always respecting. If it's about design, uh, the who is the head of design is the one who solves. If it's an management issue, is the head of management the one who has the decision. If it's communications, then it's the head of communications. And with that respect, we we face the person who is, or we address the person who is the head of the specific topic. And when the person gives a, a logical answer with the full rationale, that is what we were all expecting, we reach the agreement. So the agreement is like, so to say, to throw all the threads to the air, and the ones who fall faster, and the ones, yeah, the ones who fall faster are the right ones, you know. But the ones who are floating or are kind of the ones who are doubting, and it's a doubt that needs to be solved. And in order to reach an agreement, we need to all of them needs to fall in the same speed, with the same security that something is going to work, or else we are not all giving what we can give, you know, we're not giving our input. So if there is not a team, there is no way to progress.
Muchísimas gracias, muy aclaradora y realmente
Thanks a lot for your
un
answer.
punto muy importante
It's a
como
very important point
tomar en cuenta
as
porque
entrepreneurs
a veces nos
to take this into
apasionamos
account,
por lo
because
que
we
hacemos,
oftentimes feel so
también
excited about an
podemos
idea we
utilizar la
have,
materia
but
para
we might create a
tomar
bottleneck in order
acuerdos,
to
para decidir
create agreements and
y para cambiar
decide
e innovar
and to grow or innovate,
vidas en nuestras
because we
vidas
are
exactamente.
too much
Verónica,
into our ideas. I mentioned this as an entrepreneur.
muchas gracias.
Yeah, and it's difficult. It's difficult to acknowledge. It's difficult to acknowledge that as an entrepreneur who started so many years ago, and that somebody young comes in and that they can do the things right. Well, it's difficult to believe or be open to this, but we need to open space to it.
Innovar y renovar.
Yes, that's right. We need to innovate and renovate and accept. Yes, and
Muchísimas
accept.
gracias.
Yes, thank you very much, Pepa. Thanks to you, you darling beauty.
Bueno, gracias, Bebo, por la respuesta. Ahora seguimos con Verónica Quintero.
Well, thanks for that answer. Let's continue with Veronica Kimbe.
Buenos días.
Good morning.
Buenos días.
Hola, buenos días.
Good morning.
Les hablo desde Perú, de la parte
I'm
norte
speaking
de
from
Piura.
Peru, from the north in Piura.
Me muero.
Oh, I love it. I love
Una
Piura.
tierra muy linda que tienen que
Yeah,
visitar.
beautiful land that I invite you all to visit. Well, I know Peru, all Peru. I love
Qué
Peru.
bueno, qué bueno.
Viví en tu
I
país
love it. I
10 años.
lived
Te aporté
14
algo de
years
de
in your
mi
country, and from
pasión
there,
por los
I
textiles.
bring this excitement for textiles.
¿En qué parte
En mi
estuviste establecida?
Where did you live in Peru? I lived in Lima,
Colegio Sagrado Corazón El
from
Belén.
the Sagrado Corazon School, El Belén, where
Primer premio en labores
I
mención de
always
religión. Nada más.
I, I always got the first award for religion and
En
labors.
Belén. Ajá.
Yeah, in Belén. Yes, I am. I studied in Belen. Oh, that's so beautiful, amazing. Well, I am from Piura, and specifically Catacao is a city. I don't know if you met Catacaos. No, I did meet Piura, but not Catacaos. Yeah, well, Catacaos is the part, is the handcraft capital of the region of Piura. We do lots of jewelry and gastronomy and many other things, lots of art, lots of culture. And among this, I work in the municipality of Catacaos, and I always love to motivate, especially women, to do enterprises. We have worked with jewelry. We have some designers already, and many Colombian designers have come here to train us. That's why there is a progress in design in terms of jewelry. Now, in paja toquilla, there is a special material we have here with which we um, make bags and hats. Um, it's kind of straw. So we would like to fuse straw with jewelry. Um, but regarding what you create, your designs, do you mix the hand weaving? Because here we have many women who work with crochet, and I would like to innovate here because there is a market, because we generally receive tourists, both national and international, and we would like to offer them with new designs, new proposals, because the market is there, and we can offer. The market is suitable. And to our friends of Impactia, I think all of this is wonderful, and I would love to start to take a look at this topic in order to work in the conformation of these groups. These are people uh, of a low socioeconomic class, but they have a great entrepreneurial spirit. I have been able to work with them, with these women. We have already participated in national fairs, and when we help them out, I'm sure we can be successful with them. But so how, again, I have these two questions about fusing the handcrafts and the hand weaving. Well, yes, I work with crochet a lot at a certain time, but the success of crochet nowadays depends on materials. Why? Because we need the material to work and to be more original. You know, you have alpaca, vicuña, the most important materials in the natural world are in Peru, and you know that. And besides, the the staining is also important, because remember I told you that for material, for natural staining, the big challenge is that it doesn't wash out. And you have these beautiful warm materials of alpaca and vicuña, uh, and makes them, given that they're original material and different and unique, they are easier to export. And besides that, the quality is amazing. You have beautiful, amazing quality of people who weave, and the crochet, and you have great spinners. So crochet is so beautiful that it can work very well in applications, and it's something very traditional to us. It can work in gloves, in shoes, in many things, material things, many materials that are commercial, because we need to speak about the commercial part. Every time there is a fair on December in Bogota, the artisanal fair in Bogota, I go to the pavilion in Peru, because I love Peru. Of course, my friends of the soul are Peruvian friends, and every time I can, I travel there. And then I'm gonna confess, I haven't opened in Peru a store, um, because if I'm taken to Peru to work, I won't have any more time to like leisure time in Peru to spend with my friend and drink pisco sour and go to the beach. Well, I was thinking about inviting you. No, I will go, but as a guest, I don't want to go to work in Peru, and that's why I haven't opened a store in Peru. Well, yes, Pepa, let's keep in touch. Give me your email. Yes, please tell Monica. Monica, I will give you my email, Monica Betancourt. Yes, very good. Yes, please. And I die to eat choros a la chalaca or a caucao and my anticuchos, all of these foods. I'm hungry now thinking about the food in Peru. Well, I like that you love Peru in such a way. Yeah, I adore Peru. I spent all my childhood there. Thank you. Well, that's beautiful. Thank you. Thanks to you. Blessings, because yeah, this has been a really motivating speech, Pepa. Thank you very much. Well, that's what I am. I said, Monica, okay, what can I tell them? What can I tell them? I just gave a speech in León, Guanajuato in Mexico with intellectual people, and I was the one who was closing, and everything was said. And I had been preparing this speech for 15 days with papers and papers. And when all of the speeches finished, everybody has said what I had prepared. So the only thing I said to open my speak was what my speech was my my slogan is not to imitate, and I was applauded by this. Yes, definitely, this is the most important. Yes, that's how the development of a creative person is, is done, and the respect to themselves and to respect to others. Yes, since I was small, I loved to design dresses for dolls and for children. But now I work in public management and I detoured, but I would always love to go back to that and make baby dresses. Yes, and the market needs this. The market needs it. I'm sorry, I have to connect my cell phone because I'm running out of battery. So the market is really requiring dresses for babies. Yes, definitely, for baptisms or 15 years old, or these ages of children. That's a market that is practically virgin. Yes, yes, I support you. Do it. Okay, so we're there. Yes, we're connected there. Thank you very much. Big hug, big kiss, and we hope to see you soon in Peru. I'm gonna ask for your email if you can publish it here so we can have it. Yeah, I hope it's true because everybody here is witness. And I will be the first to go to Peru. Thank you, Pepa.
Bueno, muchas gracias.
Beautiful. Well, kisses. Thank you, Veronica.
Eh, Pepa, vamos a seguir entonces con unas preguntas que nos
So, Pepa, let's
envió
continue with some questions that we have received in the Q&A.
la pregunta
So the
es
first
Vanessa
one is Vanessa Sepulveda's question.
que es diseñadora de modas y tiene una
Vanessa
empresa
is fashion designer and she has a sports clothing company. She loves the essence of your brand and what makes it different. So what she would like to know is whether all of your production processes are controlled by Pepa Pombo internally, or if is any process worked via a third party, because in her case it has been a difficult barrier to find a committed ally that complies with times and qualities, etc. So what advice could you give her, so that processes of third parties? Well, it's more expensive but more important and more safe to do your own. I do everything in-house, everything under supervision of Monica and mine, the creative part that she's asking for, because that you should never delegate that to nobody. It's not, yeah, if it's an industry, a really creative industry, the direction should be direct. That's why I haven't been able to grow more, because I'm a small company. You might not think so, but I'm not large. I'm small, but but very substantial.
claro, seguro en el interno
Yes,
sabías que Pepa hacía
the internal,
pues
every yeah, every cloth has your style and your stamp. Yes, definitely.
seguimos con la pregunta
Okay,
de
good. So we will continue with Melba
cómo
Mora's
preparas los semaforos
question. How do you separate
digitales
the family and the business issues, so there are not kind of conflicts in between? How do you separate kind of work life from family life? We do not go out of the room or of the board, of the directors board, without having things clear, you know. There we solve things and clear out things there on the spot, and we do not go out of the board or of the room until everything is clear. We do not leave residues. Good. Now Christina Pinzon asks, which were your largest fears? You say that you reinvent yourself every day, but on your path, which were your fears, and how did you overcome them? Well, my dear, just now here, hot, the epidemic, the COVID, was something, a very recent thing. We were all crazy with this. So what do we do? Where do we move? And the first thing we did was to um, create something for the pandemic. And this is my trophy that saved us. Look at it. So can you see this? So we tailored this. The mask was one of the products that we were authorized to produce in order to continue and not to have to uh, uh, take people away of the company. So I knew that I'm always able to create something. If it's not clothes, it's going to be curtains or drugs, or many things I can, but I was not able to throw away people from the company, to dismiss or fire or lay off people, because my sisters, my uh, nephews, my grandchildren, we are all an amazing family, and the employees, we're a large family that we have created from through 40 something years, and many, if I lay them off, many of them would not have a job. It wouldn't be easy for many of them to get a job due to their age. So I thought about, what can I do? What alternatives do I have? And Monica said, okay, mom, let's do masks, face masks or uniforms or whatever. So we are uh, on the mindset of making things work out. So yes, it was difficult, but definitely yeah, this paid a toll on all of us. It was tough, but then we crafted these masks. And then Monica said the PT. But what is the PT? Well, it's the new material that it's stylish now, thanks to recycling. And I said, yes, okay, let's give it a try. But we can not stain it. But let's find a way to stain it. Oh, but it doesn't get the color. Okay. And we again made lots of essays um, and we had many questions and questions and questions, and we tried to find the answer, and we all uh, added our input. So Carolina, who works in the networks, she said, okay, you are going to take pictures. Uh, but I don't want to be a model. But hey, it doesn't matter. What you wear is sold. Where we did magic. Monica also modeled the baby one, little one modeled, and we did everything we could do in order to not to close. And then of course, we needed to close the company for some time because it was forbidden to work and receive people. But we managed to continue doing things and to continue having everyone in the payroll. And it's all also sustained via affection and respect. Yes, I feel you still have a very entrepreneurial spirit, this topic of reinventing yourself every day. So I think that's really wonderful. I will continue with ladies' question. Ladies ask, okay, having this slogan of not imitating, what strategy can we use when launching a new prototype before um, doing or a whole collection? Well, that's very easy. You wear it and go out to the street with that and go to a meeting and it works with your products, with the security, the self security about your product, because the product is the reflection of what you are. What I don't wear, I never wear something that is not mine, not because I don't like the others, the other designs, but because I feel more secure and more comfortable with my own. So when one creates something, it's kind of your second screen, second skin, and it, it gains life when you walk with it around, when you wear it, when you show it on yourself. It's a project that is very personal for me, and if I wear something and nobody looks at me, well, maybe it's not for here, and I wear it in another city or in another country. Well, thank you, Pepa. And this really applies for all. It's not about fashion, but regardless of the business you have, it's about you yourself going out to the market to test your products, to test your service, and find your niche. We ourselves are sort of our first customers to say, Sama, yeah, it's your self security that is really realized in this way, that is really manifested in this way. Because if you think you're going to make, if people are going to mock you, well, you won't go out, but you need to go out. So now Lorena Lascano has a question related to inspiration. Several questions in the Q&A have to do with inspiration. So Lorena, ask your question. Can you hear me there? Yes, yes, we can hear you perfectly. Thank you. Well, it's a pleasure, Pepa. Really, I am admired. Everything that I listen is a source of inspiration, an amazing source of inspiration, because it's not only the success in terms of everything you have done professionally, but also the values, the help. It's a beautiful, beautiful experience, and you have a beautiful way of treating people. And I think one of the most important thing in life is to be solidary and to hold your values. And something I want to know is how do you achieve daily inspiration in order to continue growing and inspiring the rest of the team? Because many of times the problems of the day-to-day problems, um, we can get lost there or absorbed by the daily problems. Well, I'm going to tell you something for real. And I hope that in Peru, people are listening to me because this happened in Lima. I was called by a program in the morning, and they said they wanted an interview with me, and then 15 days passed and I forgot it. And suddenly I get home and I find an air ticket, and I say, what is this? An air ticket to Lima. Oh my God, I have to travel tomorrow to Lima. I hadn't thought about this. So I packed really fast and I went to the airport. I didn't even know what I was going to. And I arrived to Lima. Good morning. We have this Colombian designer, Pepa Pombo, our guest. And I saw a sign on top where we were being interviewed. And this red sign that says good morning, the date February 4 of 19, I don't know what, whatever. So I said, okay, on air, and they started to ask questions. Miss Pombo, what do you base your inspiration on? And when I saw the sign, I said, in water, light. I have to in the school of my children. I have to pay the bills, and I had paid without pay. I had traveled without paying anything. So inspiration does come from there, from all the bills I need to pay. That was my answer. My inspiration comes from from the bills I need to pay. But it was a beautiful because it came out of my soul, because I told them, gosh, I came without paying the school of my children, without paying the light, without paying the water. Oh my gosh, that's my inspiration. And that's the interview that was published in Vogue magazine, So it was amazing, So yes, I think inspiration, a part of the inspiration comes out of need, of the necessities. When my Peruvian friend said, I need to remember her name, Lorena, I'm not sure, uh, that we just spoke, that she said that the women who work in embroidery, well, those women, income women, is when they're most inspired, because there is nothing that can inspire us more than life itself, than children, than eating, than living. And from there you develop your imagination. For example, plenty of times I say, what what do I need to purchase, for example, the okay, no, what market is still available to sell clothing, for example, as we spoke with them, for babies and for children, there is a market available there. So the necessities, that the necessity inspires, the need inspires, the people inspire you. If you think about it, actually everything can become an inspiration. Well, yeah, that's right. As you said, necessity definitely inspires. Is the flower of inspiration. And I love your answer. I love to see that you have in Facebook your dresses. I love the proportion. I love fashion, and I love the proportion of your dresses, how it fits to people. It's a beautiful, nice work. It's perfect. So thanks for everything that you have given us in this inspirational speech, because actually looking uh, at something that, something that perhaps how fashion is, we say I cannot impact everybody, but yes, we can do it. We can inspire people with everything we do, and the space for innovation in fashion is amazingly large. Yes, but also in anything, in food. I think innovation is everywhere, because especially nowadays our generation is willing, is really wanting new things. Before, everything turned around the classics and the imitations, but nowadays people are wanting new things all the time. They are expecting from you things that maybe you don't even have. So you get more inspiration based on this, because it's a demand, it's something you have to give. The other time I was asked, hey Pepa, please tell me which of the collections that you have issued your favorite. Wow, what a question. So to begin, everything that a new collection is issued, for me, it's already dead. The fact of presenting it, I already erase it. So, well, the truth, the one that I have liked the most is the next. The next one is the one that I like the most, because it's the new one. Yes, exactly. Yes, that's how I can answer. Actually, my inspiration is what follows is the next. Yeah, I love what you say, because I'm the technician. Everything for me, everything that follows is what's new, what comes, what can be done with technology. So yes, that's definitely my inspiration is also there, and what's coming, what's new, what's next. I do not look to the past, because if I look to the past, my business is over, because my business is about technology. Yeah, and if you're going to copy something or imitate something that existed before, you're already dead. Yes, exactly. Well, thank you very much. Thanks to you. I love to hear you and to listen to you. Thank you. I say the same. Where are you at, Lorena? I am in Ecuador. Oh, beautiful. Ecuador was a market that I had in the 70s and 80s. It was a wonderful market. Yeah, I've seen your products. I hadn't seen you before, but I love the clothing. I love fashion. But I see a proportion. Something I loved is the proportion, the details. They're amazing. Technical, yeah, they are technical, technical. Yeah, I work with pure technology. Thank you very much. Oh, so beautiful. Thank you.
Gracias, Lorena.
Thank you, Lorena.
Bueno, entonces voy a hacerte una pregunta que está por
Well,
aquí,
now
me
I'm
parece
going to
súper
ask a
importante,
question.
aunque yo creo
Somebody
que
wrote
puede ser
here,
más
important. Though
del área
I
de Carolina y de
think it
Sebastián, que
might
están
be
como
more
metidos
of
en
the
estos
area of
temas,
Carolina and
porque ellos nos
Sebastian that
preguntan
are in these topics
cómo se
because they asked,
enfocan o cómo,
how
cómo trabajan redes sociales. O sea,
do
ahorita
you
nos
work in the
contaste que dijeron, no,
social
la idea es
networks?
que tú te
Because you
pongas de la
said the
ropa y que
idea is
tú la
that you
modeles,
wear
pero
your own
cuando tienen esas reuniones
clothes
y
and
toman
you
esas
go and model it,
decisiones
but
de
when you
cómo
have
ver en redes
decisions,
sociales, ¿cómo es
where
el
you
enfoque? ¿Cuál
make
es el
decisions
enfoque de
in
redes
meetings,
sociales? Y cuando
how do
empezamos
you
a hablar de
decide
cosas nuevas
about
que hay
social
como
networks?
dónde
And when
están los
we
temas
start to talk
predictivos, o sea,
about new
meterle
topics regarding
tecnología, como de toda
predictive
esta parte que está pasando,
issues
que como
and
te decía,
bring
son
technology to
conversaciones
this,
quizás de
that are
Sebastián, Carolina, de
conversations that are
Mónica,
maybe
pero
more
queremos
of
saber un
between
poquito más de
Sebastian,
cómo
Carolina,
entra
Monica, but we
todas
want
estas
to know a
cosas
little bit
nuevas
more about
a
how
Pepa
all
Pombo.
of these new things are interacting with Pepa Pombo. Well, yes, also due or thanks to the pandemic, we already were working with this. We already had it before, but we accelerated. For example, the fact of not having sizes. For us, it was very important that the product could be sold and that it would fit on the SM, large, small, medium, large sizes. I'm not going to exaggerate the largest one. So we had it needed to be elastic, needed to have a shape, and it needed to be original. So when we issued the this kind of clothes that can be applied, that you can the shawl or the scarf, the shawl, that it works for many different situations. And from this we went to a different model that were kind of scarves, but scarves with sleeves that became kind of uh, another, like kind of a vest, and we started to use very happy colors. You see Monica's office, it's full of colors, or it's colorful, so it's important. The color is very important to give a spirit, because if you sell something black in the pandemic, you're dead. So we eliminated the black color so you can see how life is. Or we used perhaps black and white, but we studied all this based on communication. So in this case, for example, Carolina put a picture of which I was with a coat and a but I was using a belt, but then I was using a belt that was not mine in design. So we needed to design our own belts. So we needed to be really attentive to everything that was happening and the responses of people. And this led us to find what we needed to do next. There is no rules. There are no rules. There is nothing is written uh, before. And I think several women from Mexico have written here. I would love to speak to somebody from Mexico. But anyway, I love, yeah, and I'm happy that I've spoken to many girls from other places, but I would like to listen to the opinions from people from Mexico about my dresses. But there is a sentence in Mexico, there is a saying that says, God writes straight on, uh, you know, on slant lines. So we practice as a team. Somebody said, okay, when we did an we exposed some dresses that we created, and we were using belts that were made in Italy, and somebody says, hey, aren't those belt designs designed by Pepa? And we said, we need to design our own belts. So in this way we find what we have to do all the time,
Yo
something
creo que
new,
ahí
and
nos
your
aclara un
customers
poquito
guide
el de
us
eso.
on
Vas
what we need to do.
construyendo, vas
Yeah,
ensayando y
so
ese es
to
el enfoque.
summarize, we
Conociendo a
build
tu
and we
cliente, tú sabes qué
make
mensaje vas a
tests,
comunicar.
and
Y ese debe
knowing your
ser como el
clients, you
enfoque
can
que
understand
tenemos,
what is
sea
the
en
message that you
redes,
want to
sea en
communicate.
temas
That
así
is
planos
the way
predictivos y
we can
demás.
target
Todo
this
se
in terms of
basa en
networks,
investigues a
etc.
tu
Everything is
cliente,
based on
conozcas tu mercado
investigating
y
your
sobre eso
client and
vas
getting to
ensayando.
know your
De
market in
pronto
the best
le
way, and
atinas a
that's
la
how you
primera, de
adjust.
pronto
And
no,
maybe
pero
you
digamos el tema es
make
ensayar,
a good
ensayar,
bet on the
ensayar
first
hasta
one,
que
or maybe not,
eventualmente
but you need to
llegas,
rehearse
llegas
and
a la
try
respuesta.
and test until you finally will find an answer. Yes, nowadays I have I know that in certain country I can sell this, in another place this other thing. So nowadays this is something that a long time we have not spoken about this, because Caro knows perfectly what the customers require, what they need on every different place, what country or in which zone we are exporting these sort of things according to the weather. So um,
De acuerdo.
yeah, that we
Sí,
need
ahí
to
les estamos
combine this
diciendo
and
si
that.
alguna de
So
México que
yes,
nos ha
so
escrito, pero
if
no ha
there's
alzado su
anybody
manito
from
para
Mexico
dejarla
who would
participar,
like to
muy,
raise
muy
their hand,
bienvenidas. Por
you're
ahora,
most welcome to do
terminando las
so.
preguntas, tenemos aquí,
And maybe we
veo
have
una
some last
diseñadora de
questions
modas
here.
e
I
industrial
see
textil, Ale Flores.
a
Ella quiere incursionar en reciclado de
designer, a
telas
fashion
para
designer who
rehacer
wants to
telas
go
e hilos.
into
Pero no
clothing
sabe por dónde
recycling
empezar porque a ella le
and
preocupa
fabric
el medio ambiente
recycling,
y
but
está
because she's
viendo
concerned for the
que es
environment
un
and she
tema de
sees
volver a
that
empezar
it's a
desde
matter of
desde la tela, pero
restarting
no sabe
from
cómo arrancar.
the threads, so or something like this. Okay, so please repeat. Okay, does she have clothing
Quiere
that she
reciclar las
makes by
telas para
themselves that
rehacerlas,
are recycled? No, she wants
rehacer
to
costuras,
recycle
rehacer los hilos,
the
no sabe
threads.
por dónde
She wants to
empezar, pero es algo
recycle
que ella
the
siente
fabrics, but she does not
que
know
quiere
where
hacer
to
y quiere
begin
incursionar
with.
como diseñadora de modas.
That she wants to do this as a fashion designer. Well, we also work recycling because nowadays it's a very important topic. You're absolutely right on that. But you need to have an order. If you are going to make a product for for men or for women or for children, it is very important that you know that for example, the sleeve must match with the with another part, with the neck, with the color, or if it's thin with thin, or if you have transparency, it should be combined with the thick part. That has to do with her creativity, and I think it's a beautiful exercise that she can do, is to create a product that can be for children, or I would love to see something for children because we have a large deficit in children of certain ages. Every time I do products for children, this has a very good, it is very well sold. And because parents purchase things for children, but the children grow and every 6 months they need a different size. So if it's recycled, this can lead to something more affordable in terms of price, and it has a continuous sale because of the growth of the children. Because for example, an adult can buy cocktail clothing and can use it for 6 years, but not a child. So that
Gracias.
would
Mira,
be my
tenemos ya
advice there.
aquí una
Thank
persona
you
de
very much. And we
México,
have a
es
person from
Paola
Mexico,
Castresana. Ella quiere
Paola
participar con una
Castresana. She
pregunta.
wants to
Paola, porfa,
participate with a
abre tu
question. So
micrófono
Paola,
y
can you
te
please open your
escuchamos.
mic and we can listen to you?
Sí, buenos días.
So yes, good morning.
Muy interesante lo que comenta
What Pepa shares is very
Yo
interesting
estuve
because,
trabajando en un
and
proyecto
last
precisamente
year
de
I was working in a project
textil
of the
y
textile
recuerdo porque es un
industry,
negocio que
and
genera
even though
muchísimo
it's an industry
beneficio,
that generates many
sigue
resources,
siendo
it's
cero
also an
producto
industry that somehow
contaminante. Entonces,
pollutes a
¿cómo
lot.
es que
So
ustedes han
I wonder
considerado
if
el
you have
tema
considered in regarding this
de la
topic of
sustentabilidad,
sustainability
buscar la manera
to
como
seek
hacen
for a
algunas
way,
fábricas de
in
hoy,
perhaps as
que
other
compramos
brands,
de mezclilla viejos, los reciclamos,
to
volvemos a
bring your
utilizar
old pants and
y los
recycle them,
utilizamos como
for
cuando a lo
example,
mejor deberíamos
because
quemarlos
there's something that we might need
como
to
pensamiento
consider,
ecológico.
this
Entonces, me gustaría
ecological
saber
topic. So have you
o
thought about
me gustaría
this?
saber de
I
eso.
would like to listen about
Bueno,
this from you.
gracias,
Paula,
Paola,
thank you very much. I'm not sure if you listened to all of the interview. Did you?
Sí,
Uh,
una que
yeah,
otra,
apart,
se me iba y se me
because
iba.
I sometimes I lost connection.
Desconectó la
Oh,
ecológica.
okay. So you lost the bit when I was talking about ecology. Yeah, no, my dear, we are already into ecology. We've been for a long time. I've always been fond of using natural materials. We have the possibility of having Peruvian cotton, the alpaca de Vicuña from Peru, linen, the the silk, but we are working with PET, with PET in Mexico and Colombia. We are using res- recycled products from plastic. Oh, that's great because here where I live in the northern part of Mexico. Where at? I live in Chihuahua. Oh no, I love it. Yeah. Well, we are the first national producers of cotton due to our weather. Yes, as you might know. Yes, I know, definitely. And I'm gonna give you a tip that I would love for you to know because I was impressed by this. There was an experiment that I saw in Peru that since they they plant the cotton, it is planted with tinctures, with vegetable tinctures when it is planted, and the cotton comes out with a color. Well, I've been in the plantings and I've never seen that. That's wonderful. Well, my dear, yes, I spent my life investigating all of this and seeing possibilities to put things. In fact, I would do it myself. I would plant the cotton and do it. So I would love to go to Chihuahua and visit you and do the experiment with somebody who's interested. I do not have time to do more, but I would love to do that. Yes, that would be great because here in the region we live, it's a semi-arid weather. It doesn't rain a lot, so that's why the cotton is high, very high quality. Yeah, do you export it all? Yeah, you export it all. Yes, we do. Yeah, in fact, something if you don't know, the cotton produced here is exported to the United States. In the United States, they pack it and we import it back, packed. It's crazy. Yeah, we import. They just do the bulk here, and in the United States they kind of reshape it and they export it back again, and we import it. Many a lot of cotton that is said to be from the United States is actually from Chihuahua, Mexico. Yes, sorry. Yeah, I spent 17 years in the chamber, national chamber of the dress in Mexico as an advisor, and I saw all of those issues. So that's why I mentioned this to you. I really appreciate it. And yeah, last year I went to the cotton fields and this was not being done. I don't think they're doing it. Well, invite me, invite me. You're welcome whenever you want. You're welcome. I would love to go because I love investigation. That's my main topic. Okay, well, great. Well, if we can have get your email, that would be great because there are many to see if you can publish something about these tendencies on your networks or trends. Yeah, I'm speechless. Thank you very much. Oh, that's beautiful. Thank you. I would love to meet you and see if we can do something together. I would really love to. Of course, yes, because here, as we say, in Mexico, we are the largest state of Mexico with the largest territory, not so populated. The weather is difficult, but we at least we have many, we produce many things. It's primordially, yeah, primary production. Yeah, I lived 14 years in Peru and I know the weather of Chihuahua. I did 2 fashion shows in Chihuahua. Beautiful. This is beautiful. Yeah, if you're interested, there I know people here who could do alliances with fashion who wants to the indigenous, the Tarahumara indigenous people here are producing clothes with this ideology of identifying ourselves with our roots, and that is really trendy now. And yes, I learned a lot from that project because I said, "Wow, that's an amazing business." And as you said, uh, now that you are already thinking about maybe summer 2023, perhaps, and don't think about that. Don't worry for that because we sell all around the world. When it's summer somewhere, it's winter in another world. So don't worry for that. Don't put date to that. Just think about quality. Focus on quality. Well, thanks a lot, Pepa. It's a pleasure to greet you. Same, my dear. It's a pleasure. And we hope, I really want to see, to go and visit you and work on that topic. Well, be very welcome when you want to come to Chihuahua. And also to all of the women who are connected. Thank you. Thank you on behalf of everybody. Thank you.
Bueno, entonces a todas y
Good.
cada
Well,
una de las
to
que están
each
aquí
and all of you
conectadas,
who are
Pepa,
connected
muchísimas
here, Pepa,
gracias. Ya
thanks a
este
lot.
espacio, ojalá lo
This
pudiéramos
space,
extender
hopefully
todo
we
el
could
día
extend
porque
this
ha
space
sido supremamente
for the whole day,
inspirador
because it
y
has been
muy rico
absolutely
este
inspiring
conversatorio,
and
pero digamos
beautiful,
que
a
ya hemos
beautiful
llegado
conversation, but we have
al final de
already
nuestra charla. A
reached the
todas
end of our
muchísimas gracias.
conversation. So
Pepa, de verdad, mil
thanks
gracias por
to
compartir
each
con
and every one
nosotras
of you. And
toda
Pepa,
tu
thank you for
inspiración, todos
sharing
esos
all of your
consejos, esas
inspiration
ideas.
with
Yo
us,
creo
all
que
of
se
your
nos va
advices and ideas. I
súper
think
marcado es: tienes que
we
ser original,
carry the
no
message of
pienses en
being, we
copiarte,
take
el
home the
tiempo
message of being
es
original and
tu
not
amigo, no
imitating,
tu
and time
enemigo,
is your
y hay
friend,
que ser
not your
resiliente,
enemy.
hay que seguir
And we need to be
intentándolo,
resilient,
siempre
continue
reinvéntate,
trying,
eres
always
tu
reinvent
primer
yourself.
cliente,
You
no
are
sé
your
qué
first
cantidad de
customer.
mensajes yo
I don't know
acá
how many
anotando
messages
todas
I
esas
wrote
cosas
down, all of
maravillosas
those
que decías
wonderful
y tratarlo
ideas
acá
that
de
you shared,
resumir.
and
Pero de
trying
todas
to
maneras,
summarize them.
muchísimas
But
gracias, de
anyway,
verdad, muchas
thanks a
gracias.
lot.
Todas también aquí
Really,
están escribiendo
thanks
que
to
muchas
everybody
gracias, súper
who are
inspiradas,
writing on the
y a todos
chat
los
that
que nos
they're really
acompañaron,
inspired and
gracias.
expressing appreciation. Thanks for being with us. Yeah, I wish can meet you all, each and every one of you. Hugs, kisses, and you are my inspiration. Today is one of the greatest days. I feel inspired by each one of you, and this makes today a great
Mil
day.
gracias, nos vemos en la próxima
Well, thanks a
conexión.
lot,
Nos
and
seguimos
see you in the next
inspirando,
connection.
seguimos
We will
trabajando
continue to be
y
inspired
nuevamente
and working.
gracias.
And again,
Entonces, feliz día
thanks.
para
So
todas
have
y muchas
a great
gracias
day
nuevamente.
all. Thanks
Chao.
again, and bye bye. Thank you.